Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of My Adventures with Superman podcast, reviewing Season 3, Episode 3, All's Fair in Love and Worms. Our review was reviewed by Tony Parker for the episode which originally aired June 28, 2026, story by Jack Sentel, and directed by Grace Liu. After the events of last episode, Jimmy is so over Kara, read not at all, and has decided to move on, again, get back at her, by joining W.O.R.M.S, the World Organization for Romantic Matchmaking Science, a scientific dating platform designed to find him the perfect match. Clark and Lois both dismiss this as Jimmy being pathetically jealous, but they have their own problems. Lois is still struggling with the whole living on a farm and starting a family thing Clark's been pitching, and the toy model he bought last episode isn't helping matters either. Kara, of course, is totally unaware of all this and is just trying to enjoy her time with Jimmy now that that whole messy mating thing is out of the way, but he's not there, so she and Lois end up spending some quality time together. Lois explains to Kara that Jimmy is jealous and trying to make her feel the same way, and Kara sees it as a game, one where if she wins, Jimmy will finally be her mate. However, filling in the dating profile is hard when one has barely any experience of Earth, so Lois decides to take Kara out on the town, ditching her day with Clark, who was hoping to finally spend some alone time with her. Instead, he's stuck doing Superman stuff again. At W.O.R.M.S, Jimmy is assigned his soil mate, and it's none other than Doris Azul, aka Giganta. She's not really interested in him, however, beyond using him as a lab rat and turning him into a werewolf. He gets cured by the Zazala and Tazala, who runs W.O.R.M.S, but gets turned elastic, fun Easter egg, then cured again. Doris gets mad at not getting Jimmy and kidnaps him after turning gigantic. She also turns out to be the distortionist who Jimmy was assigned to cover the news of by Perry. Meanwhile, Hank Henshaw continues to administer justice his own way, a way Metropolis' citizens don't seem to be loving. That doesn't seem to bother him or Lex though, but it does bother Superman, who stops him from hurting Silver Banshee after she robs LexCorp. The two get into a battle as Clark tries to protect Siobhan from Hank, and while he manages to get her to stop, Hank nearly goes too far, leading to Lex and Slade reprimanding him. Lois and Kara go to the mall where they sing a song about the future. One Kara is glad to accept, one Lois wants to go to eventually, but is scared is coming too fast. All the plots culminate together as Superman, Zazala and Tazala save Jimmy from Giganta. He decides to stick with W.O.R.M.S, while Lois admits to Clark her fears of moving on to the next chapter of their relationship. Clark understands her, and the two decide to go a little slower. Meanwhile, in the future, a war-torn Metropolis is under siege by killer robots. Jimmy and Perry die defending Lex, who dies also while sending John Kent, Superboy, to the past to stop what will happen. Tony Parker gave this episode a 5 out of 5. All's Fair in Love and W.O.R.M.S is easily one of the best episodes of the show and continued proof of how on top of their game the showrunners are, delivering us one of the most unique superhero adaptations ever. Unlike last week, Tony feels like everyone had a proper role to play in the episode. Lois's plot especially felt perfectly placed, as she's fearing the future as much as she wants to try and make it happen. Pairing this with the ending really makes for a great piece of irony, as when Lois decides to calmly and slowly advance towards it, it turns out the future just might be terrible. The song sequence especially was a highlight, with Lois and Kara both funny and relatable. I think it made for an iconic moment no one will ever forget. Jimmy's plot is, as ever, super funny, as the world's biggest disaster gets screwed around by science experiments and Giganta, who makes for a fun antagonist, far more than Toyman was. I also really enjoyed Zazala and Tazala, who never once turned evil despite my suspicions. They made for great comic relief. Clark mostly gets to fight Hank and protect Siobhan, an incredibly fun idea for a superhero sequence, but his acceptance of Lois' struggle was great to see, and he's just as lovable as ever too. It's not the deepest episode, but it's a very fun one, and with the excellent cliffhanger, great arc progressions and fun vibe, I think it stands to be one of the best episodes yet. It will be hard to top this one. I'm Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com.
Subscribe to our free Superman homepage newsletter and stay in the loop. Go to SupermanHomepage.com/newsletter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell to ensure you don't miss out on any of our new videos.